Hello, I'm back for part 3 of our MTSS 101 series. Again, my name is Sandy Goehring, and I am a digital learning coach for Keep Indiana Learning. For our last 2 sessions, I've been discussing the MTSS process and ideas for developing a successful framework. Last time, we talked about Tier 1. This session, we're going to take a closer look at Tier 2. We'll follow the same structure as before, starting with what is it and finish with some final reminders. Again, this is only a quick look at MTSS. For more information, follow Keep Indiana Learning on all of your social media platforms, as well as looking up MTSS on the website at keepindianalearning.org. I've also included a couple of other resources at the end of this presentation. So let's get started with Part 3, Tier 2. We will spend the next 5 minutes or so going over this infographic. It will be linked at the end of this video in the comments, as well as you can find it at Keep Indiana Learning. Be sure to save it as a quick reference. We've talked about the MTSS process and Tier 1. Now let's take a deeper look at Tier 2. Tier 2 supports the striving learners that are not making significant growth in the data when given supports through the school-wide interventions and small group instruction. This tier is made up of 15 to 20% of the school's population. If this percentage is much higher, it's time again to evaluate your core instruction. The two things to remember about this tier is that you up the intensity and the frequency of the interventions. Tier 2 students still participate in Tier 1 instruction and interventions, though. So here are some ideas for strengthening your Tier 2. Be sure that the initial data is reviewed by the team. This will help get a full picture of the student and look at where they have started and their progression thus far. A plan is developed with a specific goal. When setting the plan, be sure that the intervention and progress monitoring tools support the identified skill or skills. Many times, the intervention does not support the goal established in the plan. It's also important to determine your progress monitoring tool, what will be used, and the frequency in which it will be given. This is key to the data collection needed to determine future steps. Lastly, think about the intervention that will be used. Is it evidence-based? How large is the group going to be that the student is a part of? Who will be delivering the intervention? Has that staff member been trained on the intervention and received training on the MTSS process in Tier 2? Can they administer the progress monitoring tool effectively and timely? All of these things will help to strengthen your Tier 2 instruction. So, what do we do if a student is not showing significant growth on the data at Tier 2? What do we do? Well, first, we're going to place and start to take a look at the Tier 2 instruction. We need to make sure that the plan was established was implemented and followed with fidelity. We also want to take a look at the progress monitoring and make sure it was completed in a timely manner. If the answer is yes, consider the amount of time the student has been receiving Tier 2 instruction with the MTSS plan. Was there adequate time given for the child to retain the contents of the intervention? If the answer is yes, review the data closely and determine as a team if the child will be transitioning to Tier 3. Be sure the parent is aware of this decision and understands what the new interventions will be. As we finish up with Tier 2, here are a few more reminders. As I just shared, this is a team decision. It's a very important step in the framework and to the child's education. The decision to move in tiers should not be taken lightly. Again, parents and guardians should be notified about any movement within the tiers. They should receive a letter explaining the process and a copy of the child's plan. As the student moves up the tiers, parent involvement increases. It's easy to find something labeled MTSS or reading comprehension interventions on Teachers Pay Teachers. Although those were created by wonderful educators, they are not evidence-based. Many MTSS teams compile a list of interventions in the school or bring resources to the meeting to get ideas. Lastly, don't be afraid to think outside of the box. Look at the whole child. Is there something that is happening that may be altering their understanding of math computation that could be shifted to help the child succeed? Is there a specialist that can support with providing multiple students and support you in a virtual setting? We know that staffing is short, so how could we get creative with that? Thank you so much for joining me for part 3 of our MTSS 101 Tier 2 guide. I hope you have a bit more understanding of Tier 2 and gained an idea on how to support your striving learners. Be sure to follow Keep Indiana Learning on your favorite social media platforms and connect with me on Twitter at Sandy Goehring. We're almost to the end of this journey. I'll see you next time as we start to take a look at Tier 3. Bye-bye.